Have you ever wished one day you can speak the Arabic language like a native speaker and also understand the Arabic grammar rules that you may have felt to be some difficult things? Then this our new series will get you covered, inshallah. In this series we are going to begin with the popular Arabic grammar book النحو الواضح, written by Mustafa Amin and Ali Jari. We ask Allah to reward them abundantly. In this first episode, we're going to begin with the first chapter on this book, النحو الواضح, which begins with الجملة المفيدة. That is the first topic, الجملة المفيدة. What is الجملة المفيدة? الجملة simply means sentence. المفيدة, meaningful. So when we have الجملة المفيدة, it means the meaningful sentence. And what do we mean by meaningful sentence? We mean by meaningful sentence a beneficial sentence. Any sentence that when you say it out, when you make it and you make a statement in such a way, the listener will be impacted on. You would have conveyed a complete meaning. That is a meaningful sentence or a complete sentence. Now, the format in which the two authors have written this book is that the first thing you're going to see is examples, followed by al-bahs, that is research into this topic, where they will explain everything about this topic. Then at the end, you have al-qawaid, and the qawaid are the rules that will simplify what you have learned in under any particular chapter for you. Then we'll have exercises, lots of exercises. If you are to stick to these exercises, you do them by yourself, you see that inshallah you would have gained a lot. Number one, you will skyrocket your understanding of the Arabic language. Secondly, the spoken Arabic will become stronger. And thirdly, you enrich yourself with lots of vocabularies, because the authors have tried their possible best to bring lots of examples, sentences to enhance your knowledge of the Arabic. So right away, let's dive in. Al-Jumlatul Mufida, the beneficial or the complete or meaningful sentence. We have Al-Amthila. Al-Amthila is the plural form of Mithal. Al-Amthila too means examples, whereby Mithal, example. So Mithal is the singular form of Al-Amthila. Al-Mithal, the example. Al-Amthila, the examples. So the first example we have here is Al-Bustanu Jamilun. Al-Bustan Jamilun. As we learn the rules guiding each of these topics, we are also going to be learning the translations and meaning of everything from beginning with examples till the last exercise found on each chapter, inshallah. So Al-Bustanu Jamilun, meaning the garden is beautiful. Al-Bustanu Jamilun, the garden is beautiful. Number two, Ash-Shamsu Tali'atun. Ash-Shamsu Tali'atun, the sun is rising. 3. Shamma Aliyun Wardatan. Ali smelled the rose. Ali smelled the rose. Number 4. Qatafa Muhammadun Zahratan. Qatafa Muhammadun Zahratan. Muhammad plucked the flower. Muhammad plucked a flower, meaning he picked a flower. 5. Ya'ishu Samaku fil ma. The fish lives in the water. Ya'ishu Samaku fil ma. The fish lives in the water. Then lastly, Yakthuru Nakhilu fi Misra. Yakthuru Nakhilu fi Misra, meaning date palm is becoming abundant in Egypt, or palm trees are becoming abundant in Egypt. Yakthuru Nakhilu fi Misra. Date palm or palm trees are becoming abundant in Egypt. MashaAllah. Let's move on to Al-Bahs. Al-Bahs, here we're going to have an extensive and detailed explanation of what we should have learned, what we are supposed to learn from the previous examples. The Sheikh began by saying, إِذَا تَأَمَّلْنَا التَّرْكِيبَ الْأَوَّلِ. If we ponder over the first formation of sentence, or the first sentence formation, we can see that above, the examples we just read out are all sentences. So he said, if we were to look at and ponder over the first sentence formations and also structure, وَجَدْنَاهُ يَتَرَكَّبُ مِنْ كَلِمَتَيْنِ. We will find out that the first sentence we have here, which is Al-Bustanu Jamilun, is composed of two words, Al-Bustan and Jamilun. إِحْدَاهُمَا, the first of these two words, Al-Bustan, is Al-Bustan. وَالثَّانِيَةِ, and the second, Jamilun, is beautiful, Jamilun. This is the two components of the sentence, Al-Bustanu Jamilun. فَإِذَا أَخَذْنَا الْكَلِمَةَ الْأُولَى, if we are to take the first word alone, وحدها alone, وهي البستان, and it is البستان, the garden, لم نفهم إلا معنى مفردا, we won't have understood anything except a singular meaning. So if I should say البستان, then that is the only thing you gain, البستان, the garden. لا يكفي للتخطب, and this singular meaning will not be enough for communication. Because if I should come to you and I say Al-Bustan, then you will be eager to know what has happened to the Bustan. Which Bustan? What about this Bustan? So you want to know something about the Bustan. So that means I have not conveyed any meaning to you. So we cannot use Al-Bustan alone for conversation. وَكَذَلِكَ الْحَالِ, and the same is the condition إِذَا أَخَذْنَا الْكَلِمَةَ الثَّانِيَةَ, if we're to pick the second word alone, وحدها وهي جميل, which is جميل. For to pick the word جميل alone, which means beautiful, ولكننا إذا ضممنا إحدى الكلمتين, but if we are to join the first word to the second, إحدى الكلمتين إلى الأخرى, if we are to join these two words together, we bring the first البستان and جميل together, على النحو الذي في التركيب, just the way it is in the example structure, the structural example that we have above. وَقُلْنَا, and we say Al-Bustanu Jamilun, just the way it is, Al-Bustanu Jamilun, the garden is beautiful. Fahimna ma'anan kamilan, would understand a complete meaning. If we say Al-Bustanu Jamilun, the garden is beautiful, we would understand a complete meaning. وَاسْتَفَدْنَا فَائِدَةً تَامَّةً, or فَائِدَةً تَامَّةً, and we also benefit from this sentence. We will have a complete benefit from this sentence. وَهِيَ اِتِّصَافُ الْبُسْتَانِ بِالْجَمَالِ, and what we have gained from this sentence is that the garden is being described with beauty. So you don't need to ask anything about it. If when I say Al-Bustanu Jamilun, you know that I'm describing that garden with beauty. The garden is beautiful. وَلِذَلِكَ يُسَمَّ هَذَا التَّرْكِيبُ جُمْلَةً مُفِيدًا, and as such, this sentence structure is termed as Jumlatun Mufida, which means a complete or meaningful sentence. وَكُلُّ وَاحِدَةٍ مِنَ الْكَلِمَتَيْنِ تُعَدُّ جُزْءًا مِنْ هَذِهِ الْجُمْلَةِ, and each of these two words, Al-Bustan and Jamil, these two words is considered to be a part of this sentence. وهكذا يقال في الأمثلة السابقة. This explanation we have given, it is the same explanation that we go for all of the remaining 5 examples above that we read earlier. So we are going to say the same thing about the examples above, that each of the words found in all of these examples cannot be used to convey a meaningful sentence alone without being made in this structure that you see them above. Example, you have to pick the word Ya'ishu, which means he lives or living. So who lives? We want to know. But by the time you say Ya'ishu Samaku, the fish live filma, in the water, you have conveyed a complete meaning. There is the word for that to say وَبِهَذَا نَرَى أَنَّ الْكَلِمَةَ وَحْدَهَا لَا تَكْفِي فِي التَّخَطُّبِ. With this, we have come to know that a singular word, a word alone, cannot be enough for communication. وَأَنَّهُ لَا بُدَّ مِنْ كَلِمَتَيْنِ فَأَكْثَرُ, that you must, it is a must, it's compulsory that you should use 2 words and above. حَتَّى يَسْتَفِيدَ الْإِنسَانُ فَائِدَةً تَامَّةً, so that listener would benefit from your speech or from the statement you make, will have a complete benefit, that he wouldn't need to start asking more questions when you just use a singular word. وَأَمَّا النَّحْوُ But as for the example, there's an exception to this rule. What is the exception? وَأَمَّا نَحْوُ. As for example of like kum, ijlis, takallam. Kum means stand. Ijlis, sit. Takallam, speak. You can see these three words, kum, ijlis, takallam, mimma dhahiruhu annahu kalimatun wahida. That visibly, when you look at the words physically, you see that these words are enough. These words, they are just single words. Kum is a word, ijlis is a singular word, takallam, this is a singular word. Kafiyatun fi takhattub. Even though you can see that they are just one word, singular words, they are enough for a complete, to convey complete meaning. Because when you tell somebody, ijlis, sit, he understands. So this is a singular word, but it has conveyed a complete meaning. The same goes for takallam. When I tell you to takallam, speak, I've conveyed the meaning. You don't need to ask me, you just need to speak. And when I also say kum, stand, you stand because you understand what I mean by stand. He said, فَلَيْسَ فِي الْحَقِيقَةِ بِكَلِمَةٍ وَاحِدَةٍ. You see these words, these three words you have seen and they are likes. In reality, they are not singular words. Even though we look at them to be single words, they are not. وَإِنَّمَا هُوَ جُمْلَةٌ مُرَكَّبَةٌ مِنْ كَلِمَتَيْنِ. But rather, each of them are a complete sentence made up of two words. You'll be surprised. Kum is just a word. How come we are saying that it is made up of two words? Let's move ahead. إِحْدَاهُمَا مَلْفُوظَةٌ وَهِيَ kum. One of these words is pronounced, which is kum. The kum you hear when I say kum, it is the one, the first aspect of the word. You have heard that. مثلا والأخرى غير ملفوظة. And the second part of the word, غير ملفوظة, it is not pronounced. You don't hear it. وَهِيَ أَنْتَ, and that is you. So when I say I am kum, when I say kum, what you understand, this word has two aspects. The first aspect is the one I've spoken out, which is kum, stand. But the second aspect is you. التي يفهمها السامع من الكلام وإن لم ينطق بها. That the listener will understand. The listener will understand that in this word there is you, the hidden you attached to this word, even if I don't say it out. That's why when I say kum, you will understand that I'm saying you stand. That is the meaning. Kum, you stand. And that is why you will respond, because you know I'm speaking to you. So when I say kum, you stand. Ijlis, you sit. Takallam, you speak. So you can see that this word, we cannot say that they are singular words, rather they are two in one words. The first is spoken and the second is not pronounced, is silent and hidden. MashaAllah. Now let's move on to the al-qawaid. Al-qawaid is the plural form, the jam'u of qaida. That's why we have qaida al-Baghdadiyya. You can see that qaida that we use to learn our huruf. Al-qawaid is the plural form of qaida. So al-qawaid means rules. Rule number 1. التركيب الذي يفيد فائدة تامة يسمى جملة مفيدة. التركيب الذي يفيد فائدة تامة. Any sentence structure which conveys a complete meaning, يسمى جملة مفيدة, is termed as جملة مفيدة, which means a complete or meaningful sentence. ويسمى أيضا كلاما, and it is also termed as kalam. What is kalam? Kalam means sentence or speech or even statements. So we can either call a complete sentence, or we can also call it complete sentence or meaningful sentence. Rule number 2, al-jumlatul mufida. The complete sentence قد تتركب من كلمتين, could be made up or could comprise of two words. وقد تتركب من أكثر, and it could also be made up of more than two. وَكُلُّ كَلِمَةٍ فِيهَا, and each of the words in these components to add to juz'an minha is considered to be a part of this sentence. We can see we have these two rules, and these two rules we should try to memorize them and commit them to heart, because they will be what these rules stand for is they have summarized all what we've learned. So if you are in doubt what a complete sentence is, you can easily visit rule number 1 and say التركيب الذي يفيد فائدة تامة يسمى جملة مفيدة ويسمى أيضا كلاما. Any sentence structure that conveys a complete meaning is termed as جملة مفيدة or kalam. So with this, you already know what a complete sentence is. You also see الجملة المفيدة قد تتركب من كلمتين وقد تتركب من أكثر وكل جزء فيها وكل كلمة فيها تؤدي جزءا منها. That a complete sentence could be made up of 2 words or above, and each of its words is considered to be a part of it. MashaAllah. Now we are moving on to a very important aspect of this chapter, and that is the tamrinat, the exercises, the drills. When you need to sit yourself down in order to understand any topic in this book and solve the exercises starting from the first to the last. Do not leave anyone untouched, as this exercise will help in enhancing your ability to understand and digest the topics very well. And when you need to speak, you have a lot of sentences to use. MashaAllah. The first tamrin al-awwal, the first tamrin says, the instruction is اقرأ الأمثلة السابقة. Read the previous examples. You should read what? The previous examples, the 6 examples that were given previously in the previous page. وبين عدد الكلمات في كل مثال. And outline how many words are found in each of the sentences. So when you look at the first sentence, 2 words. The second, 2. The third, 3. The fourth, we have 3 words also. And the fifth, we have 4 words. The sixth, we also have 4 words. So this is what you have to do in this first tamrin. Now moving on to tamrin al-thani, that is the second tamrin, the second exercise. We have اقرأ الجمل الآتية. Read the following sentences. This sentence you have seen below this instruction, we are to read all of these sentences. وَبَيِّنِ الْكَلِمَاتِ فِي كُلِّ وَاحِدَةٍ مِّنْهَا. And outline. The first, what we have to do in the first exercise was to just say the number of words found in the previous exercises. But here, we are to what? We are to outline how many words are found, each of the words that are found here. So we count the words and also write them down. So what we do here is, the first sentence is as-sama'u mumtira. You can make a table where each of the sentence you write it, then on the other side you put the words and with comma. So you write as-sama'u mumtiratun on the right hand side, that is the sentence. Then on the left hand side you put as-sama'u, comma, that is one word, mumtiratun, another word. So that's what you're supposed to do under this exercise. So let's read through this exercise so that we can understand the meaning of the words used here for those of us who would want to enhance their spoken Arabic. So we have as-sama'u mumtiratun, which means the sky is rainy. The sky is rainy. Number 2, at-ta'iru fawqa ash-shajarati. At-ta'iru fawqa ash-shajara. The bird is above the tree. The bird is above the tree. No bird that flies, so it's above the tree. Then al-hadiqatu jamilatun. The garden is beautiful. Number 4, yaqtifu aliyun al-azhar. Aliyu is plucking the flowers. The first begin at the previous page. On the previous page we had zaharatan. Zaharatan, which means a flower. Now we have al-azhar. That is also the plural form of zahara. So yaqtifu aliyun al-azhar. Aliyu is picking the flowers, or is plucking the flowers. Number 5, yanqati'ul mataru. The rain is ceasing. Yanqati'ul mataru. The rain is ceasing. Perhaps the rain was falling earlier and now it is stopping gradually. Yanqati'ul mataru. The rain is stopping, or the rain is ceasing. Number 6, we have yal'abul gilmanu bil qurrati. The boys are playing with the ball. The boys are playing with the ball. Al-gilman, the plural form of gulam. Yal'abul gilmanu bil-qurrati. The boys are playing with the ball. We have Yasiru sahabu. The clouds are moving. The clouds are moving. Yasiru sahabu. The clouds are moving. Then we have number 8. Yanzilul mataru minas samai. Yanzilul mataru minas samai. The rain is falling from the sky. The rain is falling from the sky. Number 9. Tatlu'u shamsu. The sun is rising. Tatlu'u shamsu. The sun is rising. Number 10. Tasiru sufunu fil bihar. Tasiru sufunu fil bihar. Safinatun means ship or boats. So the ships as-sufunu is the plural form of safinatun. Tasiru sufunu. The ships are floating in the seas, or the ships are floating on the seas. The seas, al-biharu, also the plural form of bahrun. So al-biharu, seas, al-bahru, sea. MashaAllah. Number 11, tajiful ardu. Tajiful ardu min jaffa yajifu. Jaffa means to dry. Tajiful ardu, the earth or the land is drying up. Maybe the rain had fallen over the earth and it has become so wet. So when the sun shines, the earth begins to dry up. So we have tajiful ardu, the earth or the land is becoming dry, is drying up. Lastly, we have yashtaddul bardu fawqal jibal. Yashtaddul bardu fawqal jibal. The cold is becoming intensive on the mountains. The cold is becoming intense or intensive on the mountains. Al-jibalu is also the plural form of al-jabalu. Let's take note of these changes. Al-jibalu, jam'u, jabalun. So we have mountains. Yashtaddul bardu, the cold is becoming intense on or above the mountain. So during the time of cold, the mountain top becomes more intense in terms of coldness. Now let's move on to Tamrin al-Thalis, the third exercise. The instruction says, ميز الجمل المفيدة في التراكيب الآتية. ميز الجمل المفيدة في التراكيب الآتية. Meaning, what this means is that select, choose those or differentiate the complete sentences in the following sentence structures. Here we have we have up to 8 sentence structures, and what you are required to do is to tick those of the sentences that you found to be complete sentence, to have conveyed a complete meaning. From your understanding of a complete sentence, you can easily choose which of these is a complete sentence. So I will leave you to do this by yourself. The only thing I will do for you is to tell you the meaning of each of these sentences. Let's see if you can do it by yourself for those of us who are beginners. The number 1, we have Laysa al-jawwu. Laysa al-jawwu. Al-jawwu means weather. So we say Laysa al-jawwu, it is not the weather. It is not the weather. Is this a complete sentence? It is not the weather. It is not. This is not a complete sentence. Number 2, we have Akala Faridun. Farid ate. Farid is a name of someone. So Farid ate, or Farid has eaten. Is this a complete sentence? Number 3, we have Al-Qitaru Sari'un. The train is fast. You know train. When you bought the train and it runs fast. So the train is fast. Is it a complete sentence or not? Left to you. Number 4, we have inijtahatta. Inijtahatta. If you make effort, if you struggle, if you strive, do you think this is a complete sentence? If I meet you and I say, if you strive, have I conveyed a complete meaning? I don't think this is a complete sentence, and this is not a complete sentence. Bonus for you. Number 5, we have laytal maridu. If only the sick. If only the sick. Is this a complete sentence? if only the sick. If only the sick does what? Okay. Number 6, athawbu nazifun. Athawbu nazifun. The shirt is clean. Is it a complete sentence or not? Number 7, al-kitabu alladhi. The book which, or the book that does what? Al-kitabu alladhi. The book that. Number 8, we have al-bintul muta'allima. Al-bintul muta'allima. The educated girl. The educated girl. Do you consider this to be a complete sentence? When I say the educated girl, have I conveyed a complete meaning? It is left for you to do. So make sure you solve this exercise and submit it if possible in the comment section, inshallah. Now let's move on to Tamrin al-Rabia, the 4th exercise. The instruction says, اجعل كل مثال من الأمثلة الآتية جملة مفيدة بوضع كلمة ملائمة في المكان الخالي. اجعل كل مثال من الأمثلة الآتية جملة مفيدة. Make each of these examples below, make them to become complete sentences بوضع كلمة ملائمة في المكان الخالي, by placing an appropriate word in the given spaces. We can see each of these words has a space either between it or after it. So this space that are created, this dash you can see, you are to fill in these gaps by placing an appropriate word. Let's dive in. The first example we have here is al-usfuru. Al-usfur is called sparrow, the sparrow, and the sparrow is a type of bird. So what is here is al-usfuru dash al-qafasi. Al-qafas means the cage. So how do you make a complete sentence with this? What word is required? You simply say al-usfuru fil qafasi. The sparrow is in the cage. Al-usfuru fil qafasi. The sparrow is in the cage. MashaAllah. Number 2, we have al-waladu dash al-fakihata. Al-waladu, the boy, dash the fruits. What has the boy done to the fruit? Al-waladu ya'kulul fakihata. The boy is eating the fruits. MashaAllah. So the word to fill this gap with is ya'kulu. Number 4, al-waladul muhadhabu. Al-waladu al-muhadhabu dash. What is the meaning of al-walad muhadhabu? Al-waladul muhadhabu. Al-waladul muhadhabu, the well-trained boy. A boy that is well-trained. So what complete sentence can you make with this? Or the polite boy, any boy that is polite. What will happen to him? We can say mahbubun, is beloved. Any boy who is well-trained, well-mannered, what will happen to him is such a boy will be beloved. So the people will love him. So mahbubun. You can choose your own word to make your own complete sentence. Don't use mine. I've only guided you. Number 5, we have al-hidha'u dayyiku. Al-hidha'u dayyiku. The tight shoe. The tight shoe. The shoe you put on that tighten your leg. So what complete sentence can you make with this? We can simply say al-hidha'u dayyiku mu'limun. Al-hidha'u dayyiku mu'limun or mu'dhin. The tight shoe is painful or harmful. Mu'dhin or harmful. Al-hidha'u dayyiku mu'dhin. It is harmful. MashaAllah. Number 6, we'll soon come to the end of this exercise. Thanks for your patience. Athawru, then dash al-ard. Athawru dash al-ard. What is athawru? Athawru means the bull. That is the male of a cow. Athawru, the bull. So we have athawru dash the earth. What has the bull done to the land? The bull tills the land. So we can say athawru yahruthul ardo. The bull tills the land. Then lastly we have al-qamaru dash as-samai. Al-qamaru dash as-sama. The moon is dash the sky. So we can say Al-Qamaru fi sama, the moon is in the sky, or the moon is above, mashallah. Now let's move on to tamarin number 5, the second to the last tamarin. The instruction says we have two aspects here, the two parts here. The first part, we have the instruction which says ضع كل كلمة من الكلمات الآتية في جملة مفيدة مركبة من كلمتين. Place each of the words below in a complete sentence composed of two words alone. We have the words below al-hadiqa, al-shajara, al-azhar, al-shams. All these words, what you are asked to do is to add another word to each of these words to make a complete sentence, but not more than two words. So each of these words only requires another word to make a complete sentence. So the first word we have here is al-hadiqatu. Al-hadiqatu. So we can say al-hadiqatu means the garden. We can simply say al-hadiqatu wasi'atun. Al-hadiqatu wasi'atun. The garden is wide. Al-hadiqatu wasi'atun. The garden is wide. And secondly, we have ash-shajaratu. Ash-shajaratu, the tree. What can we say? We can say ash-shajaratu muthmiratun. The tree is fruitful, meaning it produces fruits. The fruit is fruitful. Then we also have al-azharu. Al-azharu, we said it earlier, the jam'u of al-azhara, which means flowers. Al-azhar, the flowers. What happened to the flowers? We can say al-azharu mufattahatun. Al-azharu mufattahatun. The flowers are blossoming, or they are opened, meaning they are ready for pollination. For those of us who have studied agriculture. Al-azharu mufattahatun. The flowers are blossoming or opened. Ash-shamsu, the sun. What do we say? Earlier we had ash-shamsu taliyatun, the sun is rising. Here we can say ash-shamsu sati'atun, the sun is shining. Ash-shamsu sati'atun. Now the second part of this exercise says ضع كل كلمة من الكلمات الآتية في جملة مفيدة مركبة من أكثر من كلمتين. The same instruction, the only difference is that each of these words below, you should make them into a complete sentence composed of more than two words, not just two words now. So it should begin from 3 words and above. So the first one we have here is al-ma'u. Al-ma'u. So we can simply say al-ma'u asasiyun lil hayat. We can see we have 3 words here. The first is al-ma'u asasiyun, then lil hayat. So al-ma'u asasiyun lil hayat. Water is essential for life. Al-ma'u asasiyun lil hayat. Water is essential for life. Then the next word we have here is al-fakihatu. And we have to make this word into a sentence composed of more than 2 words. So we can say al-fakihatu ladhidatun wasihiyatun. Al-fakihatu, which means the fruits. Ladhidatun is delicious. Wasihiyya, and healthy. It gives health. So al-fakihatu ladhidatun wasihiyya. Then we have next yal'abu. The word yal'abu, we can say yal'abul awladu fil hadiqati. The boys are playing in the garden. Yal'abu. Now here we made this sentence into 4 sentence made composed of 4 words. Yal'abul awladu fil hadiqati. The boys are playing in the garden. And lastly, we have yarakabu. We can say yarakabu Muhammadun as-sayyarata. Yarakabu Muhammadun as-sayyarata. Muhammad is driving or riding the vehicle or the car. Muhammad is driving the car. Now moving on to tamarin number 6, and that is the last exercise under this chapter. Congratulations to us. The instruction says iti bi thalathi jumalin kullu wahidatin minha murakkabatun min kalimatain. Bring up 3 sentences, each of this sentence composed of 2 words each. You have to make up 3 sentences, and each of them should be made up of just 2 words, and they should be complete sentences. That is the first instruction for the first part. The second part says وَبِثَلَاثٍ بِكُلٍّ مِنْهَا ثَلَاثُ كَلِمَاتٍ. And also you have to make 3 sentences. Each of these 3 sentences should be made up of 3 words. The first 2 words and the second is 3 words each. And lastly, ثُمَّ بِثَلَاثٍ. Then also make up 3 sentences. بِكُلٍّ مِنْهَا أَرْبَعُ كَلِمَاتٍ. Each of them should be composed of 4 words each. So we have 3 instructions here. We have to bring up 3 sentences, and each of them should be made up of 2 words. Then 3 sentences, each of them 3 words. And lastly, 3 sentences, each of them should be made up of 4 words. So on the screen, we will be seeing the first exercise, which is for us to bring 3 sentences made up of 2 words each. This is my own for you to give you a direction, and you have to form your own sentence using your own words. MashaAllah. So let's look at the screen and see the first one, whereby we're going to be given 3 sentences, each of them made up of 2 words. Let's go. The first, we have Al-qalamu maksurun. The pen is broken. Al-qalamu maksurun. Number 2, we have Al-babu maftuhun. The door is opened. Al-babu maftuhun. The door is opened. And lastly, Al-hajaru thaqilun. The stone is heavy. Al-hajaru thaqilun. The stone is heavy. MashaAllah, we can see these sentences are made up of 2 words each. So let's move on to the second instruction. We are going to give 3 sentences, each of them made up of 3 words. Let's go. Number 1, we have Kataba Muhammadun risalatan. Muhammad wrote a letter. Kataba Muhammadun risalatan. Muhammad wrote a letter. Number 2, we have Ya'kulul waladu as-samaka. Ya'kulul waladu as-samaka. The boy is eating the fish. The boy is eating the fish. Number 3, we have Daraba Muhammadun ibnah. Daraba Muhammadun ibnah. Muhammad beat his son. Muhammad beat his son. MashaAllah. Now, let's move on to the last part, which says we should bring up 3 sentences, each of them composed of 4 words. Let's dive in. The first is Yashtaddul bardu fi shita. Yashtaddul bardu fi shita. The cold is intense in the winter. The cold becomes intense in the winter. Number 2, Sallal mudiru fil masjidi. Sallal mudir fil masjid. The director prayed in the mosque. Number 3, we have Ishtara Muhammadun al-kutub al-mufida. Ishtara Muhammadun al-kutub al-mufida. Muhammad bought the meaningful or the beneficial books. Muhammad bought the beneficial books. MashaAllah, at this juncture, we have come to the end of these exercises, and this marks the end of this chapter. As I said earlier, revision is very important. That is why you should solve these exercises by yourself, and from now onward, try to start speaking the Arabic language with the little you have learned. And every step you take takes you closer to your goal of becoming a fluent speaker of the Arabic language who is not fearful of the Arabic grammar. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reward us abundantly until we meet again, where we are going to begin with the next chapter. I say, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.